Hey guys, Chris Rook White Tea back here. So this is gonna be a different type of video. It's gonna be sort of a long one. I decided to title the video "Jobs I've Worked In," and I just wanted to get this off my chest because I've been wanting to about this for a while. Um, so basically, I've worked multiple jobs throughout my lifespan and all that. I wish you guys could see me like around there because I'm like, you know, like walking around and like being myself, which is basically what I would do back in like the Tekken streams. But getting back to the topic now, it's gonna be sort of a long one, but I've worked multiple jobs. So I'm gonna go down the line of the jobs I've worked. I will not give all the names, but for some companies that I don't care about, I will be giving names. Like, who gives a shit? I'm a nobody when it comes to YouTube. So, why would I care about giving out specific details of the company? But I'm going to go down the line on, to give also the channel some variety as well. It's still going to be gaming. This is how we're going to be doing things from now on. You guys know that. The Legend of Dragoon videos will come. I just haven't been really inspired to really get back on the series like I was like previously. I just as you guys saw in like episode 3, I'm just not really feeling the motivation, the inspiration to like get on that and like get really back on like finishing Legend of Dragoon right now. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get back into rhythm of making YouTube videos. And I figured, why not get this off my chest while I'm here, right? Why not just like, get into the groove and just record a video for fun and just go down the line in my life and, let's just get this out of the way for a little bit, So, starting with job number 1. I think I was about 16, no. I think I was 17 or 18 at the time. Or 19, something around there. I really don't remember because this was such a long time ago. My first job was to be a bartender. I lasted for 1 day because the way that the bartending job went, I figured I didn't want that to be like my life, and I just really didn't like it. And I was very young. I lasted 1 day as a bartender, and then I went back to that company for one extra day years later. And then I just immediately apologized to the boss, who happened to be one of my dad's, like, not friends, but he happens to know who he is. And so, that was, like, what I was doing in that time. And I was a bartender for basically 2 days. So a little bit about me. I did go to college for about 6 days. And then Maria hit Puerto Rico, and then I went to the States. And so, that bartending college thing went to shit, and I just never went back to college. Job number 2. I worked as a bagger in a grocery store at a supermarket. I lasted, I want to say, maybe 2-3 months, maybe. This was young me. I was very young. It was my first job. I didn't know that you couldn't be honest. You couldn't have opinions at your new job. I fucked up a couple of times. I did overtime because I felt like it, and I never reported to my bosses that I did overtime. I told them afterwards, and they got really upset. They said, "Hey, you're basically stealing from the company. You need to ask permission for these things." And you just can't do as you please. That's not how life works. So I learned at a very young age, like, hey, like, you need to keep your mouth shut and you just need to do as you're told. After my bagging job at the supermarket, that was job number 2. Job number 3 was I worked as a stalker at Always 99. I lasted for about 4 months, 5 months, around there. This job, what happened was that not only did they make me cry at this job because they treated me horribly, and the boss I had at that time, I don't even remember her name at this point, but like I said, I'm going to be giving the names of the companies because I don't really care. I'm getting this off my chest. I don't remember the boss's name, but what happened was a lot of the jobs that I was getting was thanks to my dad, because my dad knows a lot of people. And so after they fired me at this job, they quote unquote said that it was a no call, no show But I told my boss at the time I was having a problem with my phone, and I guess I never took it upon myself to actually call her and be like, "Hey, I haven't gotten my schedule for this week. Like, what's going on?" And she said, "Oh, we called you," and I was like, "Hey, hand on the Bible, I never received a call from you guys. Not a call, not a message." So, again, I was very young. After Always 99, I went to the job that I lasted 3 years. You guys see the difference? From months to 3 years. 3 miserable years of my life down the drain at Costco CDS. This one, I will say with a lot of passion. The job started off great. It was a really good time. It was a really good time for the time that I was there the first year. After the first year, everything went to shit. Now, I don't like change. I don't welcome change. I like things how they are. I live by the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, the problem with Costco CDS per se was that everything was changing. I would be out for a week, or I'd be out for 4 or 5 days because it was a part-time, and they would give us, like, sometimes we would have weeks that we would come into work 2 or 3 times a week. That's it. And I would be gone. I would be out for a couple of days, and I would come back, and things were different. There was new rules out of nowhere. Corporate kept changing everything, and I just got tired of it. And when I did quit the proper way, with respect, and I gave him my 2 weeks to not leave the company fucked, basically, my boss pulls me aside and she's like, "Hey, I heard that, you're giving in your 2 weeks. What's going on?" And I told my boss straight up, I said, "I'm tired of the constant changes in this company. I can't take it. I can't deal with it. I'm tired of it. Because every time I come into work, it's something new. And I'm fed up. I'm tired of it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And, there's no reason to have these constant changes." And I told her, I understand that it's not coming from you per se, because you are the boss of us, but corporate is on top of you. There's always a bigger boss on top of everybody who makes the fucking changes, right? And I understood that. And I told her, "Look, I understand that things are changing. I am done. I'm over it. I gave him my 2 weeks. I'm going to do my 2 weeks, and I am out of here." And when I told my boss that, she didn't want to understand that. She was like, "Oh, what do you mean by changes?" And I told her, I was like, "You know what, boss? Let's leave it at that. I quit. I give him my 2 weeks. Let's leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't care to talk about it, because I already gave him the 2 weeks." I'm like, and my last shift wasn't emotional, because there was a lot of cool people that I met there that I no longer speak to, because people change. People are fake as shit. Now, going into that job, I was single. So what do you think I did the 3 years I was there? The last year I was there, I was already, I was already dating my current wife. So the third year, the last year I was there, I didn't care. But the first 2 years, oh dear Lord, the first 2 years of being at that job and single, bro, all I tried to do was get laid. That's literally all I did. I invited my coworkers over to my birthday parties. I tried to hit on most of the managers. I was like, "Yo, let's go do something." And they know this. I don't give a shit. And, back then I cared a lot, because most women will come up with the excuse of, "Oh, it's wrong because, I'm your employer, I'm your boss, and it looks wrong." And yeah, a fun tip, by the way, most jobs, people bang even though they work together. And let me tell you 2 tips. Let me tell you 2 secrets, by the way. Call centers and big retail stores like Costco, Walmart, Sam's, you get my drift. Everybody's fucking everybody. Like, everybody is sleeping with everybody. That's not a secret. Everybody knows this. And I was like, "Yo, if you don't want to be with me, just fucking tell me. Just don't play around the bush. Just tell me, hey, I'm not attracted to you. I don't want to be with you." Leave it at that. Make it simple. Why does everything always have to be like, something different? Like, I don't get it. You get me? Like, I don't understand the point of you bullshitting me and playing around the bush. Just tell me I don't like you and reject me. It's simple as that. Like, I hit on most of the girls there. I didn't give a shit. And I never got any of them. I never did. I enjoyed my first year there. Don't get me wrong. But once I found the love of my life, I didn't care much. I was like, cool. And everybody doubted my relationship at that point. Like, I'm sidetracking, but it's to give the actual details because I'm very passionate when it comes to this job. Because I was there for 3 fucking years, 3 miserable years of my life down the drain with this job, right? And I was so happy when I left. I was like, I am so out of here. I took a mini vacation. I started enjoying life. And it was awesome. I was like, I feel so good. Because the problem is that I think about things a lot. And I don't suffer from anxiety. I do suffer from panic attacks now. But they're very rare. Like, I've only gotten in my whole life like 3 panic attacks. Because I don't have that condition. But working the jobs I did develop that bullshit condition. And it hasn't hit me for a very long time, but it hit me last year. Because it just like, there was a lot of jobs that sucked. Now, job number 4. After I left CDS Costco, right? After I left that job, what was it I was working in? Okay, I was unemployed for a bit. I was unemployed, I think, for like maybe 4 or 6 months. After that, I went straight to... Oh, and I forgot, correction. My second job was actually working for a Shell gas station. It wasn't... No, Shell was my third job, actually. I had completely forgot about this. So I've worked at Shell gas station for about 6 months. And again, I got fired. Not only did the boss that I had a friendship with, that, by the way, I'm going to say, I went and had drinks and smoked weed with him, by the way, because this was younger me and I didn't care. And, he's like, yo, you want to go play some Smash Bros, smoke weed and drink? I said, fuck yeah, I'm down. So I left with my boss to go have fun. And I showed up to the next shift like, hell yeah, man. I slept so well that night. It was beautiful. Okay, so getting back to Shell. I got fired, and not only did he lie to me because he saw me. He happens to live nearby where I live. And I was hanging out with friends, and he happened to see me, and he tells me, oh, yo, Chris, by the way, he calls me, and he tells me, you have a meeting. He didn't say you. He said, there's a meeting tomorrow with the big boss. And I asked him, I said, okay, is the meeting with me personally, or is the meeting a group meeting? He said, I don't know. Fun fact, when I went to go work for the other gas station that I worked in, I'll get into details, I saw him again and I confronted him. And I was like, dude, you lied to me, didn't you? You fucking knew. Like, he felt so guilty because when we had the meeting that, like, I've always told everybody, if you get to work and your boss, your head manager, doesn't talk to you on regular occasions and she happens to, be very nice with you once you come in on a day you're not scheduled, you're fucking fired. If your boss calls you in on a day that you are not scheduled and she starts off with, how you doing? How are you? You good? You're fired, bro. You are gone. So this motherfucker knew I was going to get fired and he lied to me. He hands down fucking lied to me and said he didn't know shit. And I was so hurt because I was like, dude, I trusted you. Like, I had full trust in you and you fucking lied to me. You could have just told me the truth. So, getting back, after I left Costco CDS, I went to work for... Where was it that I went? I'm really trying to remember. But I went to work... Oh, okay. So I went to work for my first call center. Now, I have worked at 4 different call centers In my New Year's video, you guys know that Conduit is my family. Conduit was the best job I have ever had. I got paid amazingly. I felt good at this job. I felt welcomed. I felt wanted. I felt like part of an actual team. And sadly, as you guys know, Conduit closed their doors, but not the actual job. They closed their offices, so now they sent everybody to work from home, unfortunately. My first job was working as a T-Mobile representative when it came to the first call center I worked in. I worked for T-Mobile for about 4 months. And I left because I figured that Spanish call centers really, really fucking suck. You know? They are so bad. It is just not a good time to work for a Spanish call center. I'm sorry. I'm going to put it how it is. I'm going to be honest in this video. This is going to be a very honest video. I'm not going to bullshit people. I'm just going to tell you how I felt when I worked these jobs, right? And it was so uptight. It was so much information, which normal call centers is, because it's a lot of theory, a lot of info you got to take in. And then, you know, it's just not a fun time. You feel me? Like, it is so different that when you go from a Spanish only call center with some English calls, because T-Mobile attends a lot of outside state people who happen to speak English, and you transfer to a English call center that is for, which I'm going to say, that is for food stamps, it is so much more simple. Now, I was at Conduit from March 17th to May 29th. You're saying that was a really short time, Chris, and you fell in love with this job, so like that was basically like not even 3 or 4 months. Yes, correct. But to me, I felt like I was there for like 6 to a year, right? 6 months to a year. Because I enjoyed this job so much, and I met awesome people that I'm still friends with to this day. Shout out Hector and Gabriel. I met awesome people, and I really enjoyed my time working for Conduit because it was such a wonderful fucking time. Now, after CDS, I went to go work for, as I said, T-Mobile. And T-Mobile was cool. T-Mobile was alright. You know, I did meet some great people that I'm actually still friends with. Shout out Diana. She's one of my friends who happens to be a female. And I'm really good friends with her husband, Ryan. Shout out my boy Ryan. Love that dude. And I met them thanks to T-Mobile. I was there a short time. I left. You know, I didn't leave the proper way. I was tired of it. I kept, I wasn't sleeping, and I just told myself, okay, clearly call centers aren't for me. So after the call center, I went to go work for Puma gas station. Now, I worked overnight. I will tell you guys, overnight shifts, or as they're called, graveyard shifts, are fucking horrible. I was 10 to 6 every night. Because at that moment, at that time in my life, we were having a really big issue with our cars, and there was only basically one car at home. Now, I couldn't leave my mom without a car, so my only option was to work at night. And so that's what I did. I basically only worked at night. I worked 10 to 6 every day. But people suck, right? Morning shift people are horrible. They would come in an hour late to sometimes 2 hours late. I remember I left my shift that was supposed to be 10 to 6 at almost 9 o'clock in the morning. I was fucking frustrated. And not only did that happen, the last shift I had at Puma gas station, that graveyard shift, I had a panic attack and an anxiety attack at the same time. I started shaking. I couldn't calm down. It was such a horrible time working for that fucking company that I was there for 6 months. And I had to leave abruptly. And I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. I gotta go. I can't work this fucking job anymore. And I left. I took off and I left. That I've worked 2 gas stations, and I've worked 4 different call centers. Now, I have done Uber in the past. Uber is really cool. You're your own boss. You do your own hours. You go wherever the fuck you want to go. Uber's great whenever you're making money. If Uber's empty and no one's ordering shit, it sucks. We're gonna drive past that. Then, right after that, I went to, after the Puma gas station graveyard shift job, I left and I went to try to go get my old job back at Costco CDS, and unfortunately, there was an issue with me getting that job back, which I didn't want to get the job back because I was doing it because I had no other choice. And I was like, well, they're the only job that is going to take me back regardless because I left the proper, respectful way. And then I quit right before they could hire me. Now, what happened is I went to take my information back to them to try to get rehired again. And I was already basically hired. We were just waiting for the papers to go in to the system so I can get my job back. The same day that I was going to deal with the papers of medical, I had a situation with the boss that currently still there. We had a mini argument and a mini situation, which I don't care to say. After that, I went and I immediately, as soon as I left Costco, right, that day that I went to go give in the papers, there happened to be another job that I had applied for. And that same job called me that same afternoon and said, when can you come do an interview? I said, tomorrow. And I got the other job. I was a dishwasher at a hotel for 2 weeks. This job sucked. Not only did I not get paid very well at this job that was basically manual and physical labor, which sucked. Let me tell you guys a fun fact. I burnt the fuck out of my hand at this job. Did I get reimbursed? No. I did not get reimbursed. And this job also, the hotel I worked in, also wanted the dishwashers to stay extra hours for no apparent reason. Because we would finish our job around 9 o'clock. Take in mind, we clock out at 11. I said, dude, I'm not staying 2 extra hours when my job is done. I'm fucking leaving. So I would clock out and I would leave. I was like, it's fucking ridiculous. And then after that is when I found Conduit. Now, Conduit was my home. Conduit was the best job I ever had, best people I've ever met. And it was just a great time being a call center representative for Conduit who dealt with food stamps. That's what they do. They have other departments, but that was mainly what they did. Now, after Conduit, I went to another call center that I will not be giving the name for because I could probably get into a lot of legal trouble. But this call center can suck my dick. This call center sucked. It was a horrible time. Everything was old. Their system was trash. It would go down constantly. And there were so many restrictions you couldn't do at this fucking call center. And the people who watch my videos, my close friends who watch my videos, are going to know which call center I'm fucking referencing in this moment. And this call center was so fucking bad that I was so happy to leave. Now, I had an issue with this call center because not only was their system trash next to other call centers I've worked in, there was no order. There was a lot, but I'm telling you, a lot of unprofessional stuff I witnessed working at this job that I'm like, holy shit. I'm not going to get fucking specific. For those who know what I'm talking about, write it in the comments. Or keep it to yourself, whichever one you want to do. But those who watch my videos and those who are my friends who know me closely are going to know exactly which call center I'm fucking talking about. I will not be giving the name of this one. Now, this call center fucking sucked. It was horrible. It sucked my life away. And not only did I have an issue with the people who worked there and the management, I had an issue with HR itself. Now, what happened was I was trying to change my fucking schedule and my shifts so I can work in the afternoon or at night, right? And HR refused to change my shifts. And I explained to HR, hey, I'm having a situation with transportation. I can't get to the job as early as you guys want me to. I really do apologize. Now, why did I get upset at HR denying me the request to change my shift? Not only in the way they told me, the way they denied me, but because they lied. They said, oh, if you guys want to have a specific schedule, we'll make it happen. We'll try to work with you. We'll make it happen. I learned because not only did one of my friends work at this job, and he told me, hey, I don't think you should go. He gave me a little warning before. This job fucking sucked. So they told me, we can't change your schedule because the company doesn't need the change and the company needs you to be here early. And I told HR, explaining to them, hey, I can't get here on company time that you guys are asking for. If you guys will see the fucking cameras, I am arriving in different cars every day because my car is fucking dying right now and I can't use it, right? That was the main issue. They said, in other words, we don't care. You still have to get here on time. What did I start doing on purpose? I started showing up late on purpose. Sometimes, I started off slow. I was like, I'm going to be there 5 minutes. I boosted that shit up to 25 minutes late. They never said shit. And if they were to tell me something, I would have told them, hey, I tried to speak to you guys with respect and honesty, and you guys didn't care, so y'all gonna have to deal with me getting here late. I already said it. I didn't care. I would show up, do my shift, get out, not give a shit. I was like, all right. And then after that, I went to another call center that dealt with medical stuff, which was really bad as well. I lasted about a month or 2 months at this call center, and I immediately quit. I said, you know what? Fuck this job. I hate this place. And then we finally get to the last part of the video and the last job that I've currently worked in. I was a cashier for a souvenir store. And let me tell you, I worked at this job for 3 months, right? 3 months. And this job started off great. The job started off great. It was a really good time. Like, I thought the people were so cool, and then everything went downhill. The first month, lovely. Second month, sort of an annoyance. Last month, I said, fuck this job. Because the pay wasn't worth it. The headaches I was receiving and the bullshit that I had to put up with at this job wasn't worth it. And I was like, you know what? I'm wasting way too much gas and way too much tolls that I'm paying for this crap to put up with the crap job that I have. So I decided to quit and I left. And the first month of this job was a really good time. Like, I actually really enjoyed myself in this job the first month. And I felt so happy, so welcome, so in a good spirit. And then I started realizing that it was all a farce. It was all a fantasy in my head that this job was actually cool. This job fucking sucked. And that's when I noticed, holy shit, this job is trash. No wonder they've had like 10 fucking employees leave in less than a year. This job is no good. And, I left because personally I just wasn't happy with it anymore. And I was like, I need a change of pace. I need a different job because this just isn't working. So I left. And those are the jobs I've worked. Thank you so much for joining me on this rant. I'm going to be doing more videos like this, like just talking to you guys normally, with some gameplay in the background and all that stuff. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great time doing videos like this for a change. And just being able to talk to you guys and get my feelings out there. Because this is why I started my YouTube channel in the first place. I just wanted to get my feelings out and just let the world know that, yeah, I exist. I'm here. And that was the main point of starting my channel and why I started streaming years ago. And why I'm doing it quote unquote professionally now, because it's a lot easier to get this done this way instead of live streaming it and not having any editorial control. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me on the journey of Legend of Dragoon and God of War. I really do appreciate the support you guys have been giving to the channel, and I hope to keep making you guys laugh and happy with the ridiculous videos that I post on this channel, and I hope to have your continued support. And as always, thank you so much, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the very next video, whenever that is, or Legend of Dragoon episode 4. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Chris Rourke YT signing out for now. Peace out, guys.